Good afternoon from Dooley Health and Care Field in Joliet, Illinois. It's CCAC Baseball, a single game coming your way this afternoon. Terry Bonadonna with you on the call from Joliet as the host St. Francis Fighting Saints take on the visiting Cougars of St. Xavier. St. Francis comes into today's game with an overall record of 8-20. They're 3-4 in conference play. St. Xavier a few games better at 12-16 overall and one game better in the conference. They've won 4 of their first 7. Saints are the home team, so let's take a look at St. Xavier's starting lineup first. Leading things off for the Cougars today is left fielder Kevin Dowling. Darren Zerillo bats second and plays third base. Declan Smythe hits third and plays short. Batting cleanup first baseman Patrick Duran. The number 5 hitter is DH Joe Reisers. Patrick Hayes is at second base. Hitting seventh, center fielder Colin Wolfe. Aaron Orzik is the catcher. And batting ninth, right fielder Daniel Barrios. The starting pitcher for St. Xavier today is right-hander Julian Vargas. For the Fighting Saints, Alex Martinez leads off and plays second base. Batting second, center fielder Jake Vera. John McGuire is the pitcher, hitting third. Eric Maffey is in right field. Batting fifth, shortstop Brian Hidalgo. Quinn McGuire hits sixth at first base. Playing third, batting seventh, Hector Carrillo. Dan Gusel bats eighth and does the catching. And hitting ninth, left fielder Matt Montgomery. John McGuire is making his 6th start of the year. The right-hander stands atop the rubber. He's ready to get this game underway, and his first pitch of the ball game misses the inside corner. Ball 1. We are underway. 3 o'clock on the dot, Central Daylight Time. 1-0 on the left fielder, Kevin Dowling. He takes the next pitch over the outside corner for a strike. 1-1. Temperatures in the low 50s in the area. We're closing in on an average temperature day. It's been a cold start to this season. That ball's flown into shallow right field, down the line, close to foul territory, but it stays fair as Eric Maffey comes in and makes the grab. 1 up, 1 down here in the top of the first inning. John McGuire is 1-3 this year, came in with a 4.67 ERA. In 27 innings pitched, entering play today, he had allowed 16 runs, 14 of them earned on 36 hits. He's got 19 strikeouts to just 5 walks for the season. Quick worker, a big-time strike thrower, and his first pitch to Zerillo is drilled into center field where Jake Vera is standing by to make the catch. 2 away. That ball was hit hard by Zerillo, but right in the neighborhood of Jake Vera. Wind is blowing in, although not hard at the moment. But it is another cool day. Again, a little bit warmer than we've had over the course of this spring so far, but still cooler than optimal hitting conditions. It was raining a few minutes ago. It's not at the moment. Ball 1 low on Declan Smythe, the shortstop. The rain started just about 3 minutes ago and stopped about 1 minute ago, so it didn't last very long. But just a very quick shower. Popped up foul to the right side, out of play. 1-1 on Declan Smythe, the shortstop for St. Xavier. Smythe is hitting .264 this year. 6 extra base hits. He's got 6 RBIs. He bats here with 2 outs and the base is empty. Ball outside, 2-1. First 2 batters flew out, 1 to right, 1 to center. McGuire is trying to finish off a perfect first inning. Line drive into left field this time, but it drops in front of Max Montgomery for a base hit. 2 out single for Smythe. And we've got the game's first base runner. So they've hit it across the outfield in this first inning. 1 to right, 1 to center, 1 to left. But Smythe's hit into left falls in front of the left fielder. And so Patrick Duran gets to bat with a man on base. First pitch to Duran is fouled back off the screen for strike 1. Duran is a senior. Transferred over from South Suburban. Saw time at NC Central, DuPage College. but playing in his own backyard now. He grew up in Evergreen Park, right down the street from St. Xavier on the south side of Chicago. This season, Duran is hitting .176. He's got 1 homer, 7 RBIs. He takes a ball. The count evens up 1-1. Third meeting this season between these two schools. First 2 games were also played in this ballpark a couple of weeks ago. Runner goes, the pitch misses inside for a ball, and Dan Goosel's throw down to second base is not in time. 2-1 on Patrick Duran, and Declan Smythe is now in scoring position as he steals second base. For Smythe, that's the 3rd steal this year in 4 attempts. Hitters count now for Duran, who's got a good RBI chance. He could bring home a run with a base hit. He flies this to deep right center field, and a little bit more than a base hit for Duran. It clears the right center field wall, and a 2-out, 2-run home run has St. Xavier in the lead. Second home run this year for Duran, RBIs number 8 and 9. And after 2 quick, relatively easy outs for John McGuire, the inning has taken a big turn in favor of St. Xavier. Base is empty now. McGuire will try to go back to work here and get this 3rd out to bring his offense up to the plate. Joe Reisers is the batter. Reisers, the DH today, is hitting .267. Couple of homers, 17 RBIs for the year. Strike 1 called. The home run for Duran is the 15th this season in 29 games played by St. Xavier. The 0-1 is downstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4th home run allowed this season by John McGuire, which is a team high. That ball is hit high in the air, pretty deep out to center, but this is playable as Jake Vera backs up, makes the catch and ends the inning. Second put out in the frame for Vera in center field, but St. Xavier scores 2 2-out runs with a single and a homer from Patrick Duran. We go to the bottom of the 1st. St. Xavier 2. St. Francis will get their first chance coming up. Bottom of the 1st inning, St. Francis is coming to bat for the first time. Martinez, Vera, and McGuire due up. Maffey, Hidalgo, McGuire, Carrillo, Gusel, Montgomery make up the rest of the starting 9, facing Julian Vargas, the right-hander for St. Xavier today. Vargas is making his 9th start of the year. He's 1-4 with a 6.57 ERA. In 37 innings pitched, he's allowed 28 runs, 27 of them earned on 49 hits, with 23 strikeouts and 9 walks. He faces Alex Martinez to lead things off, and Martinez takes the first pitch strike. Martinez, the junior infielder, is getting a rare start, his 11th this year in the team's 29 games played. Played a lot of third base last year and early this season as well, as he takes ball one to even the count. Hector Carrillo has taken over that spot of late. Martinez playing second today, with the usual second baseman John McGuire doing the pitching. Ground ball right side and to the outfield. A base hit for Alex Martinez. Went the other way with it and pushed it just out of the range of Patrick Hayes. The leadoff man reaches base for the Fighting Saints. That brings up Jake Vera, the center fielder. Typically a left fielder, Vera moves over to center today with Luke Ketchum getting the day off. Jake Vera is hitting .267, a home run, 10 RBIs this year. He steps out of the box as time is called by the home plate umpire. We're ready to go now. Martinez at first base. Not a big mover. He hasn't attempted a steal this year as Vera shows bunt, pulls the bat back, and takes a first pitch strike. St. Xavier got back-to-back two-out hits in the top of the first inning. The second of those two hits was a home run. So they lead it by a pair as Vera takes the ball outside, 1-1. We'll make that 2-0 on Jake Vera. Next pitch is fouled back, 2-1. We knew we'd get to that one strike eventually. So 2 balls and a strike, a man at first base, nobody out, bottom of the first inning. St. Francis wearing their home white uniforms today. St. Xavier's in red with gray pants as the visiting side. Throw to first base forces Martinez to dive back to the bag. The Fighting Saints playing their home games here at Dooley Health and Care Field, which has the artificial turf we can see in front of us right now. They've been playing a lot of games at home lately as Vera takes a ball high, 3-1. Just because they've been at this park doesn't mean that they've been home games. Yesterday they played as the visiting side against Calumet St. Joe's in a game that was moved here. This is the third game played against St. Xavier this year, and they've all been here. Fouled away, out of play, 3-2. It's been about 3 weeks since the Fighting Saints last played on the road. That was when they were down in Florida early March. They'll have some road games on Saturday. Swing and a miss, strike 3. A good battle between Vera and Vargas, but the pitcher wins it. And Julian Vargas picks up his first strikeout of the game. First out recorded by Vargas today. Alex Martinez still at first base for the moment as John McGuire comes up. John McGuire's hitting .299 this year with a homer and 13 RBIs. Gave up 2 runs on the mound in the top of the first inning. Trying to make up for that at the plate right here. McGuire had a great game yesterday in an extra inning loss against Calumet St. Joseph. He reached base 5 times. This time he flies it into shallow left field. Dowling steps in and makes the grab. 2 away. So that's the first time this week that McGuire has been set down after he did go 5 for 5 in terms of reaching base yesterday. 4 for 4 with a walk officially. Here's Eric Maffey. .333 batter, 8 homers, 23 RBIs. The latter 2 categories lead the team, as does his .729 slugging percentage. Throw to first base to check on Martinez again. Alex Martinez has not attempted a stolen base yet this year. Maffey flies that down the left field line. Dowling comes in on it. Dowling loses his hat but keeps his concentration on the ball as he comes in to make the catch and end the inning. Vargas pitches around the leadoff single as St. Francis does not advance Martinez beyond first base. We'll go to the second, 2-0 Cougars. Top of the second inning, St. Xavier will try to add to their 2-0 lead. They've got their 6, 7, and 8 batters due up. The first pitch to Patrick Hayes is over for strike one. John McGuire doing the pitching for St. Francis. McGuire flew out to left field offensively in the top of the first. Ground ball to the right side, picked up by Martinez. The second baseman throws out his counterpart, and Hayes is out number one. First ground ball hit today. We had nothing but fly balls in the first inning against McGuire. 3 flyouts. One went for a base hit. One was a home run. Then in the bottom of the first, St. Francis hit the ball in the air as well. A couple of flyouts to left. Here's Colin Wolfe. Center fielder takes ball one high. Wolfe is a 125 hitter. He's just 8 for 64 at the plate so far this year with 1 extra base hit, a double. 3 RBIs. He pops this one up shallow right field. Martinez goes back on it. He's called off by the right fielder Eric Maffey coming in. And Maffey makes the grab. 2 down. So just as in the top of the first inning, McGuire retires the first 2 batters in the second. That third out proved elusive first time around. We'll see if he's able to pick it up a little bit cleaner here in the second as he looks for a 1-2-3 frame. Aaron Orzik is the batter. Just 4 pitches against the first 2 hitters this inning. McGuire's trying to make this an extremely easy second. His first pitch to fellow right-hander Orzik. Lined out to left field, down the line, long run Montgomery. He can't get to it, plays it on a bounce right down the line. Fair territory. Orzik heads for second, and he makes it in standing up, a 2-out double. Not an exceptionally hard hit ball by Aaron Orzik there. Sounded like it might have jammed him a little bit, but he was able to find some green space down the line as Montgomery played it well, backhanding that ball on one hop. Getting it back to the infield quickly, but not quickly enough to catch Orzik going to second. So 3 hits in the game now for SXU. They've all been with 2 outs. Here's Daniel Barrios. Barrios, the right fielder, takes a first pitch strike. On the season, Daniel Barrios is hitting .257. 5 home runs, 14 RBIs, leads the team in homers. Trying to keep this inning alive and get a run in. He takes a ball and the count is even. Two teams going head-to-head today who have largely struggled offensively this year. That ball is bounced over to first. Quinn McGuire flips it over to John McGuire covering the bag. 3-1 on the putout. And St. Xavier struggles carry into the second inning. They did not in the first, though. They put up 2 runs early. And as we head to the bottom of the second inning, it is the visitors on top by 2. Two 2-0 St. Xavier over St. Francis. We're in the second inning. And the Fighting Saints will get their second chance against Julian Vargas. Hidalgo, McGuire, and Carrillo due up. Brian Hidalgo, the sophomore transfer shortstop, steps in first. He's hitting .323 this year. A homer and 17 RBIs. Righty-righty matchup here as Vargas' first toss paints the inside corner, strike one. Got a couple of strike throwers going head-to-head today. John McGuire has walked just 5 in 29 innings this season for St. Francis. The 0-1 to Hidalgo, outside for a ball. Vargas has pitched 38 innings for St. Xavier, and he's only walked 9. So a slightly higher walk rate for him, but still very solid. That bounces in, 2-1. It's played out that way so far. A lot of quick at-bats when you know you're facing a guy who doesn't miss the strike zone too often. Gives you a little more incentive as a hitter to jump on something early in the count because you hate to fall behind 0-2 or 1-2 or really ever have 2 strikes on you. Hidalgo flies it into right center field. Not terribly deep as Daniel Barrios scoots over and makes the grab, 1 down. Alex Martinez hit a leadoff single in the bottom of the first inning. Since then, Vargas has retired 4 in a row. He'll look to make it 5 straight against the first baseman, Quinn McGuire. The younger McGuire is a sophomore this year, hitting .182 with a homer and 2 RBIs. This is just his 12th at-bat of the season. First pitch to McGuire. Misses low, ball 1. Quinn McGuire is more frequently a pitcher than he is a hitter. He's thrown 18 2/3 innings, but again has only had 11 at-bats. Today he gets the start at first after pitching 3 innings of relief yesterday. He hits a bouncer to the shortstop. Declan Smythe sends it over to first, 2 down. First ground ball out for Vargas. The previous 3 had all been in the air. He's also got 1 strikeout. Here's Hector Carrillo trying to keep this inning alive. Two outs, nobody on. First pitch to Carrillo is taken for ball 1. Hector Carrillo's batting average is down to .239. Still a solid .354 on-base percentage. Ground ball to the second baseman, Hayes. He takes a step to his right, fields, and throws over to first to end the inning. 1-2-3 frame, first one of those today for either side. And we'll go to the third. St. Xavier leads St. Francis by 2 spots. After 2 innings, it's 2-0 St. Xavier, thanks to a Patrick Duran home run back in the first. He's due to hit 4th this inning, so John McGuire would rather not see him until the 4th. It's the top of the batting order due up for the second time for St. Xavier. And Kevin Dowling swings at the first pitch, skying it out to center field. Jake Vera trots back and puts it away. 1 out on 1 pitch in the 3rd inning. McGuire has retired 5 of the last 6 since the home run. And now he'll get his second look at Darren Zerillo, the third baseman. Zerillo hit it pretty hard his first time up, but lined out to center field. He's 0 for 1. 214 hitter this year. Ball 1. Started to say before, both these teams have struggled a little bit offensively. Very similar team numbers for these two squads. That ball is flown into center field. Another chance for Jake Vera. Playing a different position than usual today. Vera's gotten a lot of action in center field, and he catches another. That's his 4th put out of the ball game. 4 of the 8 outs have been fly balls to center field. 2 outs on just 3 pitches. Here's Declan Smythe. Coming into today, St. Xavier was hitting .271 as a team. St. Francis .268. Fighting Saints have hit for a little bit more power than the Cougars have, and thus have scored a few more runs as Smythe takes strike 1. But their run totals are similar as well. In the same number of games, St. Francis has scored 10 more. Ball 1 low on Smythe, 1-1. Declan Smythe came up with 2 outs and the bases empty in the first inning. Then he started a little 2-out rally that resulted in St. Xavier taking the lead. He's trying to do the same again here in the third as he hits a foul ball to the right side, 1-2. McGuire looking to end the inning. Misses high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. If nothing else, Smythe has prevented this from being a super quick inning for John McGuire. He got those first 2 outs on just 3 pitches. Smythe is making him work a little bit more. This is the 5th pitch of this at-bat. And it misses outside, ball 3. First 3-ball count to the game for McGuire, who's done a good job of getting ahead of just about everyone. Sun shining on the field for a brief moment. McGuire goes into the windup, payoff pitch. Flown out to right field, foul and out of play. It rained for about 2 minutes right at the start of this game, and that very quick shower went away. It's become a much more pleasant afternoon. 3-2. Another fly ball to right field. This one going back towards the warning track. Maffey in front of the wall, leaps up and can't pull it in. It's a home run for Declan Smythe. And St. Xavier's lead is 3-0. First home run this year for Smythe. RBI number 7. It's his 2nd run scored today. And a near repeat of the first inning. 2 outs, nobody on. McGuire just can't get that 3rd out. Here's Patrick Duran. He's the one who hit the 2-out home run in the first inning. Now he comes up with the bases empty and swings the first pitch, hitting it a mile high to straightaway center field, right behind second base. The shortstop Brian Hidalgo makes the catch. And that ends the inning. 3 out of 4 batters retired in a hurry that inning, but Declan Smythe worked the count, and on the 7th pitch, homered to right field for the first time this year. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. St. Xavier leads 3-0. 8, 9, and 1 due up for St. Francis in the bottom of the third inning. They've got some work to do offensively, trailing 3-0. Thanks to a couple of long balls for St. Xavier. Dan Gusel is the batter. Will try to start the third inning rally for St. Francis. Gusel's making his 10th start of the year. He takes the first pitch strike from Julian Vargas, who's been sharp so far today. 6 up, 6 down against the last 6 hitters. Martinez singled to begin the game for St. Francis. That's their only base runner, and he was stranded at first base. Ball 1 to even the count. Gusel's a .207 hitter. 1 homer, 1 RBI this year. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. 1-2. I was just talking last inning about the similarity between these two offenses. Very similar in batting average, very similar in runs scored, but the advantage for St. Francis is in their power. They hit more home runs. Well, not today. It has been St. Xavier's power game that has built this early lead as Gusel grounds it to the third baseman. Darren Zerillo fires to first. 1 away. Just 1 strikeout so far today for Vargas, but he hasn't needed any more than that. Last 7 batters have all been retired despite the contact. Here's Matt Montgomery. Hitting .200, Montgomery has 4 RBIs this year. He's 9 for 45 at the plate. He shows bunt, pulls the bat back, and takes strike 1. One out, nobody on. 0-1 on the number 9 hitter. Montgomery swings and fouls it to the right side. Out of play. 0-2. The offense for St. Francis has gone cold these last few days. Really going back to Friday. Ball 1 on Montgomery. 1-2. They were no hit by Bubba Davenport in Game 1 of a doubleheader against Calumet St. Joe's here on Friday. They won Game 2, but it was a pitcher's duel. 3-2 was the final score. Soft liner into right field, sinking, and a nice diving catch made by Daniel Barrios to retire Montgomery. As Barrios was racing in for that ball, it was clear all the way he was going to try to make the diving catch. And there was a moment there where I thought it might be ill-advised. I didn't think he was going to get to it. If he missed that ball, it would have rolled all the way to the backstop. And Montgomery, who runs well, would have had 3 bases easy, if not all 4. But it turned out not to matter because Barrios was able to make the great play. 2 down, and here's Alex Martinez, the only man to have reached base so far for St. Francis. Vargas starts him off with a ball up high. Into the windup, the 1-0 pitch. Low and in, ball 2. Yesterday, St. Francis scored 3 runs in the first 3 innings. It took a 3-2 lead on Calumet St. Joe's. They didn't score the rest of the way. They ended up losing 4-3 in 11. Ball downstairs, 3-0. So that means going back to yesterday's action, they've gone 11 consecutive innings without scoring. And including today's action so far, they've scored just 6 runs total in their last 4 games. There's ball 4. Martinez draws the walk. First walk of the game issued by either starting pitcher. And it snaps a string of 8 in a row retired by Vargas. Martinez remains the only Saint to have reached base, but now he's done it twice. And Jake Vera will try to make him pay for that 2-out mistake. Ball 1 low and away. 2-out offense has been the name of the game so far today. All 3 of St. Xavier's runs have not only come with 2 outs, but they came from situations that started with 2 outs and nobody on. St. Francis had the same scenario here. 2 outs, nobody on, but now there's a runner at first as Vera takes outside. 2-0. And that'll bring a visit to the pitcher's mound as the normally well-controlled Julian Vargas has all of a sudden missed the strike zone 6 times consecutively. He had thrown only 10 balls total through the first 2 2/3 innings against 9 hitters. So an average of barely a ball per hitter. Now, again, he's missed on 6 in a row. Good start offensively in this game for St. Xavier, but still up by 3. You want to be careful not to give away any free base runners. It's still a tight ball game that St. Francis can get themselves a little bit closer on very easily with one swing of the bat. Jake Vera is a guy who's got the potential to drive in some runs. 10 RBIs this year, 8 extra base hits. It's about a third of his total hits. He's hitting .267. 2-0. He pops it up, left side, foul ground, or near the foul line anyway. It is playable. Kevin Dowling makes the grab in fair territory, just a step in front of the line. So the Saints squander the 2-out walk. They do not score. We'll head to the 4th. 3-0 St. Xavier. Joe Reisers leads off the top of the 4th inning for a St. Xavier team that has a 3-0 lead on St. Francis after 3 innings. Reisers takes ball 1 outside from John McGuire. McGuire's been sharp for the most part today. He just has had trouble getting that 3rd out. 1-0 pitch. Fly ball into center field. Jake Vera backs up. There is under it, and he's got it. 1 away. 5th put out for Jake Vera today. And for the 4th consecutive inning, the leadoff batter has been retired. McGuire has gotten the first 2 batters of every inning so far, but he hasn't had a 1-2-3 frame yet. Patrick Hayes, the second baseman, is the batter. Right-handed hitter for the Cougars. Hayes swings to the first pitch. He lines it into center field. Vera got a little bit of a late start, but able to catch up to that ball with ease. 2 down. This inning looks a lot like the last inning did. Back-to-back flyouts to center field for the first 2 hitters. McGuire has 2 outs on just 3 pitches. Identical to last inning. Last inning, he followed that up by giving up a home run to Declan Smythe. This time it's Colin Wolfe. Wolfe does not have a home run this year, although neither did Smythe. He swings and misses. Strike 1. Wolfe is 0 for 1 in this game. He flew out to right field his first time up. McGuire looking for his first 1-2-3 inning. Swing and a miss. He's 1 strike away. He's trying to force Julian Vargas right back onto the mound as well. Vargas had to work a little bit harder in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So to force him back out there just a minute later would be a nice benefit for the Fighting Saints as Wolfe takes high. 1-2. 2 outs, nobody on. McGuire winds up and deals. Low and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. More and more with each passing second. This inning looks so similar to the last one. Back-to-back flyouts to center field on just 3 pitches, and now a good battle with the 3rd hitter of the inning, but Wolfe goes down swinging where Smythe had homered in the 3rd. So it is the first perfect inning for McGuire. It's also his first strikeout of the game. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. 3-0 St. Xavier. Bottom of the fourth inning, the pitcher John McGuire leads things off. He's 0 for 1 with a flyout, trying to help his team back from 3 runs down. Julian Vargas into the windup for the first pitch of the inning for St. Xavier. It's over for a strike. Vargas got only about 3 minutes of rest between appearances on the mound. After throwing his scoreless third inning, McGuire came out and wiped out the side in order very quickly. There's a ball. The count is even at 1. So we'll see if St. Francis can take advantage of Vargas maybe being thrown off rhythm a little bit. It's McGuire, Maffey, and Hidalgo due up here in the bottom of the fourth. There's a ground ball to the left side. The third baseman and shortstop run into each other, and McGuire is safe at first. Smythe and Zerillo both went after that ball. Declan Smythe is still down. He needs some medical assistance out at the shortstop position as he and Zerillo got tangled up. Just a weird play. Both the shortstop and third baseman charged that ball, and typically that's the shortstop's play if he can get to it. But Zerillo thought he had the opportunity to cut him off and make the play a little bit easier at first base, and not enough communication out there for the two of them to determine who should make the play, and their feet got tangled up. It wasn't a hard collision. It looked like they just kind of tripped each other, so both men are back up and feeling okay now, at least well enough to continue. McGuire is safe at first base on just the second hit of the ball game for St. Francis. Second time they've gotten the leadoff man on base, an infield single. McGuire runs well. That wouldn't have been an easy play. Like I said, typically I think that play would be the shortstop's ball just because it looked like he was in position to get to it. But if Zerillo can cut it off and grab it, it's an easier play for him or a shorter throw for him. I don't know if either of them would have gotten McGuire at first had the play been made, but it wasn't, and McGuire was safe without a throw. 1-0 on Eric Maffey, who's 0 for 1 with a flyout. So after a short delay, both guys are back up and staying in the game as we continue. Maffey fouls one off, and the count goes to 1-1. Second time today that St. Francis has had their leadoff man on. It's their third base runner in total. So far, none of them has advanced as far as second base. Quick throw to first sends McGuire diving back to the bag. John McGuire is 3 for 4 stealing bases this year. 1-1. Maffey flies one out to deep center field, sending Colin Wolf back to the warning track. Wolf just in front of the wall, jumps and can't pull it in. It hits high off the center field fence, and Maffey heads to second base with a double. John McGuire at third. Back-to-back hits begin the fourth inning for St. Francis, and that's a big one for Eric Maffey, the big power bat for St. Francis, who has been going through a slump the last few games. Comes out in a big way there, just missed his 9th home run of the year. So he has to settle for his 13th double this season. Far and away a team lead. He is far and away ahead of the rest of his teammates in doubles, homers, and of course extra base hits as well. That was his 22nd this year. And now the tying run comes to the plate. Brian Hidalgo takes ball one. Feels like we're still very early in this game just because of the pace that it's been moving at so far, but bottom of the fourth inning, it's certainly not late, but we're in the middle innings. A couple of runs would be huge for St. Francis here as Hidalgo swings and misses, 1-1. This is an opportunity here to be a big turning point in the game. Second and third, nobody out. If Vargas can get out of this, allowing one run or no runs, that would be big for St. Xavier. If the Saints are able to get 2 or 3 here, and we've got a totally different ball game. Hidalgo bounces it to third. The run will come into score. Zerillo's throw to first is in time. Maffey heads for third base, and he's out. Over aggressive base running for Eric Maffey over at third base, and it's a double play. Not a traditional double play. The run does score, and it is an RBI for Brian Hidalgo because it wasn't a forced double play. It's his 18th run batted in this year. Brian Mahalik doesn't like the call at third base. I'm not certain, but I believe Maffey was called out for oversliding the bag. I don't think they got him before he got to third base. He definitely did overslide the bag, and then the question becomes, was the tag on him when he came off of third base? And it's tough to tell, but he is out. Bases are empty now with 2 down. 1 run is in. Quinn McGuire bounces it to the third base dugout. Strike 1. So again, it is an RBI for Hidalgo. 5-3 on that put out, and then 3-5 on the next one. Ball in the dirt. 1-1 on McGuire. I was just saying a moment ago, if Vargas can get out of this inning allowing 1 or fewer runs, you definitely call that a big success for him. Now he's on the verge of doing that. Swing and a miss, 1-2. You come into the inning with a 3-run lead. All of a sudden there are runners at second and third, nobody out. It's a tough spot to get out of without allowing anything. And with a bit of a cushion, St. Xavier was more than happy to take the out on that last play and let the run score as McGuire fouls it away. Still 1-2. But St. Xavier got the better of the play when they turned it into 2 outs. Vargas trying to put away McGuire and end the 4th inning. Righty to righty. Quinn McGuire takes low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. If Quinn McGuire reaches base here, Hector Carrillo bats next. 15th pitch of the inning coming up for Julian Vargas. Still under 50 pitches for the game. There's called strike 3, and the inning is over. Second strikeout of the ball game for Julian Vargas, and he does pitch out of some trouble in the 4th. 1 run on 2 hits, nobody left on. We go to the 5th. It's now 3-1 St. Xavier. Top 5, John McGuire back to the mound. McGuire has been pretty solid on the mound, save for a couple of pitches. He's given up 2 home runs in this game, and that's the difference. As St. Xavier leads 3-1 through 4. Aaron Orzik stands in and takes strike 1. Orzik is the catcher for St. Xavier. 1 for 1 today. He doubled in the 2nd inning and was stranded at second base. He swings and misses here, 0-2. So far today, St. Xavier has 4 hits. All of them have come with 2 outs in the inning. Hard to build rallies when you're only getting on base with 2 outs, but making sure that all your hits are home runs, or at least so far in this game, half of your hits have been home runs. It was a long way towards building a lead. 1-2 on Orzik. Outside, 2-2. John McGuire batted last inning, came around to score the first run of the game for St. Francis. So he's done a little bit of everything today for the Fighting Saints. 2-2 pitch. Poked out, foul to the right side. We'll get another 2-2 pitch in just a moment. McGuire started this inning with just 42 pitches thrown for the game through 4 innings. He has been extremely efficient. Liner out to right center field. That's a base hit for Orzik. Into the right center field gap. Vera chases it down. Orzik tries for 2. The throw comes in, and he's out. Aaron Orzik singles to lead off the 5th inning, but trying to stretch it into a double. He is thrown out, and there's one away in the 5th. We've seen both teams have a guy thrown out on the base paths now in the last inning. Very aggressive base running from Orzik. A sharp line drive out to right center field. It got to Vera in a hurry. Strike over the inside corner. 0-1 on Daniel Barrios. St. Francis was shifting on Orzik to begin with. They had 3 guys to the left of second base. Ball inside, 1-1. Had it not been for that, I'm not sure that would have even been a hit in the first place. If the second baseman, Alex Martinez, is playing in his normal position, it's a ball that he potentially could have caught on the fly. 2-1. But it all worked out for St. Francis's defense anyway. 5th hit of the game for St. Xavier, but there's 1 out, nobody on as Barrios takes a strike. 2-2. McGuire has been pounding the strike zone today. He hasn't walked anybody. He's got just 1 strikeout, but a lot of quick outs. Ball outside. This one of the rare long at-bats as Barrios works the count full. Just the second batter today to see a 3-ball count from John McGuire. And he strikes out swinging, chasing one a little bit low. Goosel digs it out of the dirt and throws it into right field. Barrios heads to second base. It'll be a 2-base error on Dan Goosel. And so the second strikeout of the game for John McGuire turns into disaster. A weird inning so far. Aaron Orzik got a hit but was out, and then Barrios struck out, but he's at second base. That'll bring up Kevin Dowling, a runner at second, and 1 out. So I guess you could argue, if you're in St. Xavier's dugout right now, that this is exactly the way things should be right now. Runner at second, 1 out, based on the way the first 2 batters went here. 1 hit, 1 strikeout. You'd think both teams would take this situation. But St. Francis a little bit frustrated right now that they could not get that second out as Kevin Dowling takes ball 1. Now we're back to the top of the order. This is already the longest inning of the game for McGuire. This will be his 14th pitch, 1-0 on Dowling. He slugs it into left field. Montgomery chases it back, and it's over his head. All the way to the wall. Barrios around third base. He comes in to score without a throw. It's an RBI double for Kevin Dowling. 4-1, St. Xavier. First hit of the ball game for Dowling. It's his 12th RBI this year. That's an unearned run against McGuire. And Darren Zerillo bats with a runner at second base. And 1 down, a meeting on the mound before Zerillo steps up. I don't know that it made a difference. Montgomery didn't read that ball well off the bat. He was completely frozen as the ball was hit to him. You hear that a lot from guys who play the outfield, that the toughest balls to read are the ones hit directly to you. Montgomery reacted well late on that one and then had no chance to make the catch. Again, I don't know if it made a difference. The ball was hit well by Dowling, and even if Montgomery had seen it perfectly off the bat and gotten back a lot quicker, it still would have been a difficult play for him. But the late reaction cost him any chance of making the catch. It was a well-struck line drive by Dowling. St. Xavier has 6 hits now in the game, and they've been hard hits. They've not been cheated. By and large, they haven't made a lot of really hard contact in the game, but When they have, it's fallen. 4-1 the score. This ball's fouled off to the right side. Quinn McGuire takes a look at it and watches it sail out of play. 0-1 on Darren Zerillo. Nobody warming up in the bullpen right now for St. Francis. The mound meeting was strategic more than anything. Saints are not apparently looking to make a pitching change anytime soon. 0-1 on Zerillo. McGuire checks the runner at second and now delivers a ball outside. 1-1. St. Francis had just come back with a run in the bottom of the fourth inning, starting to try to chip away at the St. Xavier lead, and the Cougars have put it right back to where it was, ahead by 3. Ball outside, it's 2-1. Zerillo is 0 for 2. He's flown out to Jake Vera in center field in each of his first 2 at-bats. He's ahead in the count now, 3-1. Again, no walks today for McGuire. I mentioned it just a few batters ago that he had only gone to 3 balls twice, so this is the 3rd time now that he's gone to 3 balls on a hitter. Check swing pop-up into shallow right center field. Martinez goes back and can't come up with it. It drops in between Martinez and Vera. And it's a base hit for Darren Zerillo. Kevin Dowling moves up to third base. He had to hold up on that one. Couldn't tell if there was a chance for it to be caught or not, so he played it carefully, and he advances just 90 feet. But just moments after I said that the Cougars haven't been cheated on their swings, they've hit hard line drives for each of their first 6 hits. That was a little check swing pop-up. It was just out of the reach of Alex Martinez, and like Montgomery before him, Martinez reacted a little bit late on that one. Also, like the previous play, I'm not sure it made a difference as to whether or not the ball was caught. Declan Smythe is the hitter. Smythe takes a strike. He homered his last time up. Smythe is 2 for 2. He's got a single to go along with that home run, a stolen base. He has scored 2 of their 4 runs. And he can give St. Xavier their biggest lead of the game with a hit right here. Dowling's just 90 feet away from scoring number 5 for the Cougars. It's a ball outside. Ball dropped by Goosel. 1-1. It was a Dan Goosel error earlier this inning that started the big rally. On strike 3, he threw it away down to first base. Pitch is low here. Throw down to second base. In time. So this time, Goosel makes up for the error by catching Darren Zerillo trying to steal. And there are 2 outs in the inning. There's still a man at third base, so that threat to score is still there for St. Xavier, but that is a huge second out. Smythe can no longer drive in the run with a fly out here. 2-1 in the dirt, 3 balls and 1 strike. Presumably he would need a hit. Of course, a pass ball or a wild pitch would get the run in, or an error. There are other avenues to St. Xavier scoring this one, but a huge difference between a runner at third, 1 out, and a runner at third with 2 outs. There's ball 4. First walk of the game issued by McGuire. And Declan Smythe is aboard for the 3rd time today. "24 pitches so far this inning for John McGuire. He had only thrown 42 through the first 4 innings combined. Now he faces Patrick Duran with runners at the corners and 2 down. Duran swings the first pitch, grounds it to first. Quinn McGuire picks it up, steps on the bag, and ends the inning. All things considered, could have been a lot worse for St. Francis. A weird top half of the 5th inning, and it ends with the Cougars getting 1 run on 3 hits. An error, they leave 2. Halfway through this game, it's 4-1, St. Xavier. Bottom five, St. Francis got on the board in the fourth inning, but St. Xavier got the run right back, and so their lead is once again 3. Now we'll see if the Saints can get back to it as Hector Carrillo shows bunt on the first pitch and takes ball 1. Hector Carrillo 0 for 1 today, grounded out to second base his first time up. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Hard ground ball, but foul past third base. It's 1-1. We were out here yesterday. St. Francis is playing their second game in as many days, right around the same time yesterday. Saints took on the Crimson Wave of Calumet St. Joseph. Breaking ball over the inside corner. It's 1-2. I just marvel at all the ways today's game has been completely different from yesterday's. Yesterday there were a ton of base runners and not all that many runs. A lot of guys left on. Here's a ground ball to the shortstop. Smythe charges it, gloves it nicely, and throws over to first for the out. Good play by Smythe. 1 away. It's amazing what a game looks like pitching-wise when you're not walking guys. Because neither pitcher today is. Each side has issued 1. We have not seen very many runners left on base today. There's been more offense in terms of runs scored today than yesterday, but it's because guys are hitting. You can get 7 hits like St. Xavier has today and be kept down offensively when you're not getting those free base runners as well. Strike called. 0-1 on Dan Goosel, the catcher, who grounded out to third his first time up. It's just hard to string 3 or 4 hits together. But when you can throw a few walks in there as well, the offense shoots up. Ball low and in, 1-1. Today, though, the difference for St. Xavier has been they've been hitting the ball over the fence. A couple of homers, a few other extra base hits in this game as well, and that's another way in which it's completely different from yesterday afternoon against Calumet. Goosel takes a ball. It's 2-1. In yesterday's game at this ballpark, St. Francis and Calumet combined to collect 25 hits in the game. 25 total hits between the two teams. Every one of them was a single. Ripped out to left field. Speaking of singles, Dan Goosel is aboard. That's a 1-out base hit for the St. Francis catcher. 4th hit of the game for the Fighting Saints, and that'll bring Montgomery to the bat with 1 out and 1 on. Max Montgomery is 0 for 1. He lined out to right field in the 3rd inning. Got a pinch runner over at first base for the catcher. Gio Pappas is the courtesy runner. Throw over to first base. He dives back in safely. Ball 1 inside on the number 9 batter, Montgomery. How about that from yesterday's game? 25 singles. No doubles, no triples, no home runs. Today the Saints have 4 hits. One of them has gone for extra bases. They got a double from Eric Maffey in the 4th. Montgomery, it's a grounder to short. Smythe flips it over to second for 1. The relay is in time for a double play. 6-4-3. And the bottom of the 5th comes to a close. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. We've played 5. It's 4-1, St. Xavier. After 5 innings of play, St. Xavier leads St. Francis 4-1. It's the season rubber match between these two teams. Not really a 3-game series. The first two came up a couple of weeks ago. But they split a doubleheader here back on March 15th as Joe Reisers takes strike one from John McGuire. Reisers is 0 for 2 today. He's played pepper with Jake Vera in center field. Flying there twice. He takes a strike here, 0-2. St. Xavier won a pitcher's duel against St. Francis 3-2. St. Francis took the more offensive game, 10-5. Ball high, 1-2. Today so far, a little bit in between those two. It's 4-1 after 5 innings. That ball is lined into left field. Montgomery charges it and has to play on a bounce. Base hit for Reisers. And the leadoff man reaches for the first time today, really, for St. Xavier. John McGuire retired the leadoff batter in the first 4 innings. In the 5th, Aaron Orzik started with a base hit, but he was thrown out trying to stretch it to a double. So this is the first time in today's game that McGuire has had to pitch from the stretch with nobody out. Strike one called on Patrick Hayes, the second baseman. Hayes is 0 for 2 today, .323 hitter for the season. He fouls it away. It's already his longest at bat of the game. He grounded out to second in the second inning, flew out to center in the 4th. McGuire's taken care of him quickly in each of his first 2 at-bats, trying to put him away on an 0-2 pitch right here. Hayes takes just off the outside corner, 1-2. Colin Wolfe is on deck. 8 hits in the game now for St. Xavier. They've had 10 total base runners. This ball's popped into shallow center. Vera flies in and slides to make the catch. Another play for Jake Vera out in center. They've been hitting it his way with great frequency today. It's the second time that Hayes has flown to Vera. This one a tough play on a softly hit fly ball. But he makes a nice sliding grab. One away. Reiser's still at first base, and Colin Wolfe hits for the 3rd time. Wolfe is 0 for 2. He's flown out and struck out. He takes ball 1. McGuire has only 2 strikeouts today. It came in the span of 3 batters. (1-0). Fouled back. 1-1. 10 base runners for St. Xavier today. They've got 8 hits, of which 6 have been singles. They've got 2 doubles and 2 homers. Ball outside, 2-1. McGuire has walked only 1 so far today, and the other base runner came on a drop third strike, although it wasn't the drop third strike that was the issue. It was thrown away at first base. Fouled back, 2-2. Aaron Orzik stands on deck with 1 out in the inning. McGuire could potentially get out of this with a ground ball. He hasn't gotten a lot of those today, though. St. Xavier's been hitting the ball in the air consistently, including right here. Wolfe flies it into center field. Another routine play for Vera. He camps under it and makes the catch. 2 away. This is not a stat I usually track all that closely, but they've hit the ball out to Vera so frequently in center field that I've been paying close attention to how many putouts he's got. That's his 8th, and this is the 4th inning today in which there have been at least 2 flyouts, or I guess exactly 2 flyouts to center field. Aaron Orzik is 2 for 2. He has singled and doubled. Fouled out of play, strike 1. We're in the top of the 6th inning. St. Xavier has led this one ever since a 2-run Patrick Duran home run in the top of the 1st. So they've led the whole way. Ball outside, 1-1. They got a solo homer from Declan Smythe in the 3rd, and in the 5th inning, an RBI double from Kevin Dowling. So they've been scoring every other inning so far. Called strike on the fastball. It's 1-2. Ground ball to the shortstop. Hidalgo has it, flips it underhand to second base, and Martinez steps on the bag to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, and a man left. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. St. Francis trying to start their comeback. They trail 4-1. Bottom of the 6th inning. A little bit slow to get started here. Aaron Orzek grounded out to end the top half of the frame. So he had to get the catcher's gear back on, but he's behind the plate, and we're ready to get started in the bottom of the 6th inning. St. Francis trying to get the bats out. Just 4 hits and 1 run through the first 5 frames. Alex Martinez leads things off here against Julian Vargas, who breaks the strike over. It's 0-1. Martinez has not been retired today, 1 for 1 with a single and a walk, 1 of the 4 hits, and the only walk taken by a St. Francis hitter. They've had a little bit more success against Julian Vargas in recent innings. Ball 1 on Martinez to even the count. First time through the batting order, Vargas retired 8 of 9 batters. Second time through, he got just 5 out of the 9. So they got some better looks at him the second time they saw him. We'll see how successful they are now the third time through the order. So far, 1-1 on the leadoff batter, Alex Martinez. Martinez drills one out to left field. That's a leadoff base hit. So Martinez came into today's game hitting just 196 for the season. But he has reached base 3 times now in this game. Nobody else has been on more than once for St. Francis. This is the 3rd time today that the leadoff batter has reached for the Fighting Saints. We'll see if Jake Vera can keep the rally going. Vera's 0 for 2. He has struck out and flown out. He swings the first pitch and flies it into shallow left. Dowling races in, dives in, makes the catch. Martinez chugs back to first, but he doesn't make it in time. So Dowling not only makes a diving catch, but he has the wherewithal to get to his feet and fire it on over to first base to retire Martinez on the force play there. A double play, and the Saints have nobody on base now with 2 outs. The defense for St. Xavier has been outstanding today. It's the 2nd diving catch we've seen. It's also the 2nd double play they've turned today. The other one a more traditional 6-4-3. McGuire takes a strike. John McGuire is 1 for 2 today with a single. He's got the only run scored by the Fighting Saints. The 0-1 pitch, lined hard but foul down the left field line. It's 0-2. Saints are down to their final strike of the inning. Vargas trying to face the minimum here for what would be the third time today. McGuire pops it up foul to the right side. Chase from Patrick Duran, but he's out of room. It's 0-2. Went 1-2-3 in the second inning. And then in the fifth, he got the double play that got him out of the frame by facing just 3 hitters. Another double play here in the sixth gives him a chance to face the minimum. 0-2 on John McGuire. McGuire pops it up. Right side, shallow into the outfield. Duran backs up and the first baseman makes the grab. The side is retired. They get a leadoff single but don't score thanks to the excellent defense of St. Xavier. We've played 6 with 3 to go. It's St. Xavier 4, St. Francis 1. Top of the 7th inning, St. Xavier will try to extend their lead with Barrios leading things off and fouling the first pitch back for strike 1. Daniel Barrios is 0 for 2. He reached on a strikeout in the 5th inning and scored a run. That was the 4th for St. Xavier. Strike called, 0-2. And it extended their lead to what it is currently. Cougars led it 3-0. After the first 3 innings, St. Francis came back with 1. Started to chip away, but immediately the next half inning, St. Xavier scored again, extended their lead back to 3, and it's been 3 ever since. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Barrios strikes out swinging for the second time today. Leadoff batter retired in the 7th. It's been an up and down day for John McGuire. All things considered, I'd say he's pitched a good game. This is, if he were to be removed right now, what would be considered a quality start. Just 3 of the 4 runs are earned through 6 1/3. Kevin Dowling is the batter. 1 for 3 today. He takes a strike. Dowling hit an RBI double in the 5th inning. He's also flown out twice. Swing and a miss, 0-2. McGuire's thrown a lot of strikes. He has not gotten a lot of swings and misses today. But this inning has been an exception. You got Barrios swinging. Now it's 0-2 on Dowling. And he strikes him out swinging. Back-to-back Ks for John McGuire. He's done it on just 7 pitches. 2 up, 2 down in the 7th. And Darren Zerillo will try to keep the inning alive. Zerillo is 1 for 3 with a single. 5 straight have been retired by John McGuire as Zerillo takes strike 1. This would be his second 1-2-3 inning of the game if he can retire Zerillo. He takes a ball, 1-1. This is the 5th time in 7 innings today that McGuire has gotten the first 2 batters of the inning, but again, only one of the previous 4 occasions has he been able to complete the perfect frame. Ball 2 on Zerillo. It's 2-1. Foul tipped. 2 balls and 2 strikes. McGuire had just 2 strikeouts through the first 6 innings. He's 1 strike away here from fanning the side. Line drive into center field. Vera comes in, has to play it on a bounce. So once again, St. Xavier keeps it alive with a 2-out hit. 4th time today that they've had their first 2 batters retired, but gotten their 3rd hitter on base. And Declan Smythe now comes up with a man on. That's exactly what McGuire was aiming to avoid. Smythe has been a tough out today. He has singled, homered, and walked. He has not been retired. Ground ball to the shortstop here. This should end the inning. Hidalgo flips to second. And for the first time today, Smythe does record an out. 1 hit, no runs, and a runner left in the top of the 7th. Stretch time in Joliet. 4-1. St. Xavier on top. St. Xavier leads St. Francis 4-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Fighting Saints are starting to run out of outs here as they bring Eric Maffey up to the plate against a new St. Xavier pitcher, Jimmy Fairley. The right-hander is out there. The junior Fairley starts Maffey out with ball 1. Eric Maffey is 1 for 2. Flew out to left field in the first inning. He doubled in the 4th. That double led to the first run of the game scoring for the Saints, the only one so far. Ball outside, 2-0. Jimmy Fairley is on for the 5th time. He has an 0-1 record, no ERA through 4 games. He's pitched 3 1/3 innings and allowed 3 hits and 2 walks. He has struck out 6. Ball outside, 3-0. Great game today for Julian Vargas. The starting pitcher went 6. Allowed 1 run on 5 hits. He walked only 1 batter, struck out 2. There's a called strike on Maffey, 3-1. Vargas is in line for his 2nd victory of the year. He'll get it if Fairley and company can hold the lead over the final 3 innings. Big swing and a miss from Maffey, 3-2. Fairley's come in throwing heat, took something off of that 3-1 pitch, and Maffey was way out in front of it. Full count offering. Foul tipped and off the chest protector of Orzik. Maffey just does stay alive. So he started the at-bat out 3-0. Fairley has come back and loaded it up. Big at-bat here for Eric Maffey, St. Francis's top hitter this year. Trying to get on base to start a late rally as the Saints look to overcome a 3-run deficit. There's ball 4 outside. 3 straight strikes from Fairley, but one of them a foul ball. He was not able to come all the way back and get the leadoff batter of the 7th for the Saints. Second walk issued today by St. Francis batters. And Brian Hidalgo comes up with a runner at first and nobody out. Hidalgo is a .323 hitter who is 0 for 2 today. He's got the only RBI for St. Francis today. Came on a ground out in the 4th inning. He bunts here down the third base line. It's foul. Strike 1. Looked like Hidalgo was bunting for a hit. St. Xavier kept the infield back in a 3-run game. We still do have a few more innings to play after this. Hidalgo squares to bunt, pulls it back, swings away, and fouls it to the right side. Out of play into St. Francis's dugout. The count is 0-2. If this were the 9th, probably even the 8th inning, I'd say there's no way he's dropping down a sacrifice. Even in the 7th with a 3-run deficit, it's unlikely. So I think that first pitch was for a hit, and then he tried to catch St. Xavier off guard by showing bunt on the 0-1. With 2 strikes, he doesn't even feint it as the pitch misses outside, 1-2. Quinn McGuire stands on deck. Barring a double play, we'll see Hector Carrillo bat this inning as well. Ground ball to first, gloved cleanly by Duran, who steps on the bag, throws down to second. No force at second base, but they get the tag for the double play. 3-6 double play, and the bases are clear. Well played by Duran. He could have gone to second base and tried to get the forced double play, but the ball was hit hard enough that he thought there was enough time to step on first and then fire down to second and get the tag play. They did get the tag play pretty easily. Maffey was out by a full step over at second. Breaking ball inside on Quinn McGuire, 1-0. Third consecutive inning in which St. Xavier has been able to get a double play on St. Francis. Only one of them has been the traditional force play. Ball outside, 2-0. This one was the 3-6 tag double play, and then last inning it came on a flyout in which Alex Martinez was unable to get back to first base in time. Chopper down the third base line. That's a foul ball off the bat of McGuire. 2-1. Quinn McGuire's 0 for 2 today. Grounded out in the second. Struck out looking in the 4th. 2 for 13 so far this year. Quinn McGuire is trying to open up a 2-out rally in the bottom of the 7th. He fouls it away, and the count goes to 2-2. 2-out rallies have not been unfamiliar. In this game, St. Xavier has scored 3 of their 4 runs with 2 outs. And all 3 of those runs came after there were 2 outs with nobody on. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Fairley strikes out McGuire, and despite the leadoff walk, he comes out with what amounts to a perfect inning. Thanks to the double play, he faces the minimum. We'll go to the 8th. St. Xavier 4, St. Francis 1. Patrick Duran will lead off the 8th inning for St. Xavier. Duran, Reisers, and Hayes due up. Cougars lead the Saints 4-1 after 7. Most of the offense in this game came early. St. Xavier scored 2 in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth. St. Francis's run came in the bottom of the 4th inning. Starting pitcher still in the ballgame for the Fighting Saints. John McGuire's first pitch to Duran misses outside, ball 1. Duran's only hit in this game came in the first inning, but it was the biggest hit of the game for either team, a 2-run homer. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Both Duran and Smythe have gone deep for St. Xavier today, accounting for 3 of their 4 runs. McGuire has retired the leadoff batter in all but 1 inning. Duran flies this one to deep right field, and he's got his second home run of the game. No doubt about that one. Eric Maffey turned around, took about half a step, and realized there's no point in wasting the energy going after this ball. Duran came into today with just 1 home run on the year. He's got 2 in today's game, and St. Xavier leads by 4, their biggest lead of the game. I think that'll be the last pitch that John McGuire throws today. McGuire was good more often than not today, but the times that St. Xavier got to him, they really got to him. 3 home runs in the ballgame, and that'll do it for McGuire. I'll step aside for a moment and tell you about the new pitcher when I come back. 5-1, St. Xavier leads with nobody out in the 8th. Joe Reisers is the hitter for St. Xavier. Top of the 8th inning, the Cougars lead 5-1. And with McGuire heading off following the Duran home run, the new pitcher for St. Francis is right-hander Josh Kernbauer. Kernbauer set for the first pitch to the DH Reisers. And he misses for ball 1. Kernbauer, in his previous 6 outings this year, has no record, an even 7 ERA. In 9 innings, he's allowed 10 runs, 7 of them earned on 16 hits with 10 strikeouts and 4 walks. He fires a strike to Reisers to even up the count. Joe Reisers is 1 for 3 with a single. John McGuire is out after 7+ innings. He allowed 5 runs, 4 of them earned. 3 home runs. Strike called, 1-2. McGuire gave up a total of 10 hits in today's appearance. He walked 1, struck out 4. 1-2 the count on Reisers. Kernbauer looks to put him away. Gets a fly ball into right field. Maffey is under it. Eric Maffey makes the catch. 1 away. I said it as he was departing. McGuire was good more often than he was bad today. The overall stat line is not what he'd like it to be. 5 runs in 7 innings. Only 4 of those runs, again, were earned. At the end of the day, there's a lot of positives to take away from today's outing for McGuire as Hayes takes ball 1, but didn't get the results that he wanted thanks to the 3 home runs. Coming in, John McGuire had allowed 3 homers in 27 innings. He allowed 3 in 7 innings today. Ball low and in. 2-0 on Patrick Hayes, the second baseman, who has not reached base today. He's 0 for 3 with a ground out and 2 flyouts. In the driver's seat in this at-bat, though. 1 out, nobody on. The 2-0 pitch. Check swing on a ball downstairs. 3-0. Colin Wolfe is on deck, and if anybody reaches, Aaron Orzek will hit this inning as well. St. Xavier trying to build some insurance here in the top of the 8th. Ball 4 outside. Kernbauer was not particularly close in that at-bat. Missed on 4 in a row. And Hayes is aboard. Second walk issued today by St. Francis pitchers. And that'll bring up a pinch hitter for Colin Wolfe. Sam Ryan, the senior infielder, is going to come up to hit. Ryan's a .250 batter this season, 11 for 44. He's come up in some clutch spots. He's got 9 RBIs in his 44 at-bats. Not a real RBI chance for a guy here who has not had an extra base hit all season. He's just looking to advance the runner. As he flies this one to center field. Doesn't appear that he will advance the runners. Jake Vera waits for that ball to come down and puts it away. His 9th put out today. Patrick Hayes retreats to first base. 2 down, 1 on, and the batter is Orzek. Aaron Orzek, the catcher's had a good offensive game. 2 for 3 with a single and a double. 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors for St. Xavier. 1-5-1 for St. Francis. First pitch to Orzek is swung through for strike 1. Josh Kernbauer came in after the home run for Duran, so it was very much like starting an inning fresh. Bases empty, nobody out, even though technically he came in mid-inning. Issued the 4-pitch walk to Hayes, but otherwise has looked good here as he misses on Orzek to even the count 1-1. Bottom of the 8th will feature the bottom of the order for St. Francis. They'll be chasing at least 4 runs with just 6 outs to play with. Runner on the move, floated out to right field for a base hit for Orzek, his 3rd hit of the game. Hayes heads over to third base. And they're at the corners with 2 down. 2 outs in the inning. I don't think that was designed hit and run, but it certainly played like one. With Hayes on the move, a hole opened up on the right side of the infield. And Orzek poked it right through. So that brings up Daniel Barrios with runners at first and third, 2 outs, and a chance for St. Xavier to break this game wide open. He swings at the first pitch and pops it up on the infield left side. Playable for Hector Carrillo, who drops the ball. 6-1 St. Xavier. As Hayes scores, Orzek stops at second base. And St. Francis commits their 2nd error of the game. Both of them have allowed runs to score. Carrillo lost track of that ball while it was in the air. He had to adjust at the last second as the ball kind of drifted to his left. But he still got his glove on it. And it still should have been an easy play, even as he had some trouble finding it initially. Strike 1 called on Kevin Dowling. Popped right out of the mitt, though. And so that run charged to Kernbauer is unearned. The inning should be over, so any future runs this inning would be unearned as well. Dowling takes a ball inside, 1-1. No RBI for Daniel Barrios. Fourth base runner of the inning. St. Xavier's gotten a pair of hits, a walk, and now an error to keep this 8th inning moving on. Dowling is 1 for 4 today with an RBI double. Ball outside, 2-1. 2 runs already in here in the 8th. St. Xavier has started to pull away. But they can put St. Francis away once and for all with a big hit from Dowling. This has not been a high-powered St. Francis offense in conference games. Ball low, 3-1. They've been held to just 1 run over the first 7 innings today. They've scored just 7 runs total over their last 4 games. So a 6-1 deficit with 2 innings to play is massive to begin with. Anything more than that might be lethal. Ground ball to third. Carrillo makes the play cleanly this time and steps on the bag to end the inning. But the Cougars managed 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 left. To the bottom of the 8th we go. 6-1, the biggest lead so far today for St. Xavier. Bottom of the 8th, St. Francis really has their work cut out for them now after St. Xavier added 2 more runs to their lead in the top of the 8th. Carrillo, Goosel, and Montgomery due up for St. Francis here against Fairley, who's on for his 2nd inning of work. 1-0 on Hector Carrillo, who grounded out to second base in the 2nd inning and to the shortstop in the 5th. He's 0 for 2. Carrillo flies this ball down the right field line. Long run into the corner for Barrios, and it drops foul for strike 1. One ball, 1 strike on the leadoff batter here in the 8th inning. Fairley pitched the 7th, walked the leadoff hitter, but retired him on a double play and then struck out McGuire. So a very effective 7th inning for Jimmy Fairley. Popped up by Carrillo. Foul ground right side. This one will be playable, though. Moving over to his left, Patrick Duran makes the grab. 1 up, 1 down in the 8th. It brings up the number 8 hitter, catcher Dan Goosel. Goosel is 1 for 2. He singled in the 5th inning. St. Francis has only gotten 2 runners past first base in today's game. And it was at the same time. Back in the 4th inning, the only time they scored. Ball 1 on Dan Goosel. Goosel singled, but was erased on a double play in the 5th. Martinez singled, but was erased on a double play in the 6th. Maffey walked and was erased on a double play in the 7th. Ball 2 on Dan Goosel. So even though they've had base runners in all but 1 inning today, they really have not threatened the St. Xavier pitching staff at all. Ball outside, 3-0. The only time they've been able to get anything going on offense was the 4th. When John McGuire hit a leadoff single, Eric Maffey followed with a double, and they had runners at second and third with nobody out. They turned that into 1 run. Goosel takes ball 4 outside. That's the last thing that Fairleigh wanted to do right there with a 5-run lead. You never want to issue a walk late in a game. There are rare circumstances ever in a game where you do want to issue a walk, but definitely when you're up by multiple runs late. Gio Pappas comes in as a courtesy runner at first base. Goosel will get the catcher's gear back on. Max Montgomery is the batter. 0 for 2, he lined out to right field in the third, grounded into a double play in the fifth. He has not yet faced Jimmy Fairleigh, and he may not here either. Fairleigh's getting a visit on the mound right now. No signal to the bullpen, so we'll see if this is a substitution change or just a conversation. I was talking about the 4th inning a moment ago. McGuire singled, Maffey doubled. They had second and third, nobody out. At the time, it was 3-0 St. Xavier. Fairleigh will stay in the game, by the way. But it seemed like if the Saints were going to get back into this one, that was the time to do it. They were a base hit away from making it a 1-run game. Instead, they got 1 run out of that situation on a ground out, but then Eric Maffey was thrown out trying to get from second to third base on that ground out. Turned into a double play. Strike 1 called on Montgomery. And they haven't threatened since then. Meanwhile, St. Xavier has tacked 3 more runs on over the last 4 innings to open up this 5-run advantage they've got right now as Fairleigh misses inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gio Pappas is the pinch runner over at first base following the 4-pitch walk of Goosel. Ball outside, 2-1. Fairleigh's been a little bit wild today. That's the one knock on him. Otherwise, he's been effective. But that's really the line on Jimmy Fairleigh all year. Hasn't allowed a run all season, but he has allowed a lot of free base runners. Outside, 3-1. Including today's action, he's pitched a total of 4 2/3 innings this year. He's walked 4, hit 2 batters, and thrown a wild pitch. So he's tough to hit, but he's been very wild this season as he fires a strike to Montgomery to make the count 3-2. He's trying to pitch around those control problems here today. He's thrown 15 balls. That was his 14th strike, fouled away by Montgomery. So 15 balls, only 14 strikes among his 29 pitches. And he'll throw a 7th pitch to Montgomery with Pappas over at first, and the Saints trying to mount a late rally. Strike 3 called over the inside corner. And Montgomery goes down looking, 2nd strikeout for Fairleigh. 2 down, and we're back to the top of the order. Alex Martinez has not been retired today. He has singled twice and walked. This is his 4th trip to the plate. And Fairleigh starts him off with a strike. Pappas over at first base runs well, but down 5 with 2 outs in the 8th. This is not really a prime stolen base opportunity. Ball low and in, 1-1. Martinez came into today hitting 196. 9 hits and 46 at-bats. Today he's got 2 hits and 2 at-bats. He takes the ball outside, 2-1. He's a patient hitter. And Fairleigh has been wild, so Martinez is trying to work his way on base one way or another. Ball 3, another 3-ball count. It's been a lengthy couple of innings for Fairleigh, but thus far without any damage being done. He hasn't given up any hits. 3-1. Ball 4. Looked like the home plate umpire was gearing up to give the strike call, but he ends up saying it was a little bit high. Second walk of the inning, third of the game for Fairley, and that'll be his last one. We're going to get a pitching change here with 2 on and 2 out in the 8th inning. St. Francis trails by 5, but putting together a little bit of a late threat in this 8th inning. We'll see if Jake Vera can deliver a big blow for St. Francis in just a moment. New pitcher coming on for St. Xavier. I'll be back in a minute to tell you about him. Two on, 2 out, bottom of the 8th. St. Francis trails by 5, but they're trying to make a game of it. Jake Vera comes up in a big moment here against a new St. Xavier pitcher. It's Su Chun Yen, junior from Taiwan, is on for the 11th time this year. He's 2-0 with a 1.2 ERA. In 15 innings, he's allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 16 hits with 8 strikeouts and 3 walks. First pitch is over the inside corner for strike 1 on Vera. Jake Vera is 0 for 3, a strikeout and 2 flyouts today. Jimmy Fairley departed after an inning and 2/3. Yen is the opposite of Fairley. Doesn't walk many hitters, but you can hit him a little bit. More than a hit per inning allowed. Fouled away, 0-2. Su Chun Yen has allowed 16 hits in 15 innings, but only 3 walks. Whereas Jimmy Fairley in 5 innings this year has allowed only 3 hits, but 5 walks. 0-2 on Vera. Fly ball into center field. Moving to his right, Colin Wolfe makes the catch and ends the inning. A pair of walks, but no runs scored for St. Francis as they leave 2 in the 8th. 1 inning still to play at Dooley Health and Care Field. It's 6-1 St. Xavier. Darren Zerillo leads off the ninth inning for St. Xavier, trying to extend a 6-1 lead against a new St. Francis pitcher. Matt Lopez is on for the second time this year. Lopez, the right-hander, sets for the first pitch and misses inside on Zerillo, who is 2 for 4 today with a couple of singles. Lopez, in his first outing this season, pitched a scoreless inning. Didn't give up any hits or walks. 1 strikeout. He did hit a batter. Misses high on Zerillo, 2-0. Josh Kernbauer pitched the 8th inning. Kernbauer, in his 1 inning of work, allowed 1 unearned run. Nothing earned. Ball low and away, 3-0. 1 hit allowed by Kernbauer, 1 walk, no strikeouts. No decision for him. The pitchers of record are the starters right now. 3-0 to Zerillo. Paints the inside corner, 3-1. Julian Vargas pitched 6 excellent innings and is in line for his 2nd win of the season for St. Xavier. John McGuire pitched 7 up and down innings for the Fighting Saints. He's in line for his 4th loss as Zerillo takes ball 4 low. 3rd walk issued by St. Francis pitching today. Zerillo is aboard, leading off the 9th inning. Here's the number 3 batter, Declan Smythe. 2 for 3 with a walk and a homer. He bunts this one back to the pitcher. Lopez looks to second but throws to first and gets the out there. So the sacrifice works out for St. Xavier. Smythe is retired, and Zerillo moves into scoring position. Here's mighty Patrick Duran. 2 homers already to his credit today. Duran hit a 2-run shot in the 1st and then a mammoth solo homer in the 8th. He's 2 for 4 in the ball game. He's also popped out and grounded out. 5-run lead for St. Xavier. They have scored the last 3 runs unanswered after St. Francis had brought it to within 3-1. Duran takes strike 1 from Lopez. 7 runners left on base by the Cougars today. St. Francis has stranded 5. The 0-1. High pop up. Left side foul territory on the infield. Carrillo makes the catch. 3rd baseman puts away Duran for out number 2. It was a fair ball, I think. It was signaled at the last instant. It had actually crossed over the line. Not all that important. It's an out either way. 2 outs in the inning, and the batter is Joe Reisers. Or is it? Looks like a pinch hitter. Sean Hadlessy comes up as a pinch batter for Joe Reisers. Hadlessy is making his 21st at-bat of the season. He is 4 for 20, a 200 average. No extra base hits, 3 RBIs, 2 outs in the inning. And Matt Lopez is 1 out away from a scoreless 9th. So he can give his team a chance in the bottom of the frame. Lopez's first pitch to Hadlessy is fouled back, strike 1. Three, 4, and 5 due up for the Fighting Saints next inning. And of course, they'll need to send a few more batters than that as well to have any chance of winning this one. Fouled away by Hadlessy, 0-2. St. Xavier is trying to wrap up a season series victory over St. Francis. The 2 teams were 1-1 against each other coming in. The 0-2 misses outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cougars are also looking to win their 4th game in their last 5 overall. They had a 3-game winning streak. Snapped on Sunday. Trying to get back on today. So that ball's fouled back off the screen. Still 1-2. We're getting into the meat of the schedule here. St. Francis came in at 3-4 in conference. St. Xavier at 4-3. Neither team got off to a great start in non-conference play, but that's not all that uncommon for Midwestern teams. Just missed for ball 2, and the count is even. So it's not until you get into conference season that you really start taking the record seriously. Well, both of these teams got off to middling starts. 1-1 against each other, of course. So this is the time of year now where these results become really big because they're stuck in the middle of the pack in the CCAC. And the elite teams, you figure, are going to start separating themselves in the next couple of weeks. Hadley takes a ball high, full count. Lopez got ahead of him 0-2. Hadley has worked it full. Runner at second base with 2 outs. Pickoff throw back to second. Zerillo dives back to the bag well ahead of the tag. Hidalgo tried to apply it again just in case, but he didn't come off. So now we're ready for a 3-2 pitch. Lopez to Hadley. Popped up, right side, foul. Long run, Quinn McGuire into the bullpen, and he's out of room. It lands on the berm, out of play. Over on the right field side, still 3-2. Lopez will make an 8th toss to Hadley. Patrick Hayes is on deck. He'll bat if Hadley reaches. Darren Zerillo drew a leadoff walk against Matt Lopez. He stands at second with 2 down. Good battle here between the reliever and the pinch hitter. 3-2. Swing and a miss. He got him to end the inning. First strikeout for Matt Lopez. Second strikeout this season for him in 2 innings pitched. And he puts a scoreless 9th inning up on the board. Last chance coming up for the Fighting Saints. Cougars lead this one 6-1. Six to 1, St. Xavier leads St. Francis. We're in the bottom of the 9th. Last chance here for the Fighting Saints as John McGuire leads things off. He faces Chu Chun Yen, whose first pitch breaks over the inside corner for strike 1. Yen came in last inning with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Next pitch is grounded over to the shortstop. Picked up cleanly, but the throw is wild from Declan Smythe. And McGuire is safe at first base. Actually, I have to correct myself. It is a new pitcher, Ryan Martin, in the game. And he will have to deal with a runner on base to start this thing out. McGuire is aboard for the second time today. Throwing error on the shortstop, Smythe. It's the first error of the game committed by St. Xavier. And that leaves the door open a crack for the Fighting Saints, who try to make a comeback in the ninth. Eric Maffey is the batter. 1 for 2 today with a double and a walk. First pitch from Martin misses inside. Ball 1. Martin sets for the next one and misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes on Eric Maffey. Starter today was Julian Vargas. He went 6 innings. Allowed 1 run. Fairley pitched an inning and 2/3. Didn't give up anything other than 3 walks. Ball inside, 3-0 on Maffey. And then Yen threw just 3 pitches in his appearance. Retired Vera. And so pitched a scoreless 3rd. Ball 4 outside. Maffey walks for the second time today. He's on base for the 3rd time. And the Saints are still kicking here in the bottom of the 9th with Brian Hidalgo coming up. 2 runners on base. So Martin is the 4th pitcher of the game for St. Xavier. This is his first appearance on the mound this year. Transfer from Iona will face Hidalgo with 2 on, nobody out. Brian Hidalgo is 0 for 3 today with an RBI. Fly out, a ground out, and a double play on his resume so far. Martin misses inside 5 straight balls. Five-run lead late. He's really just got to throw strikes here, make St. Francis put the ball in play. Hasn't been able to do that so far. Ball inside, 2-0. Although, in fairness to Martin, who has not pitched well so far here in the 9th, the one time he did let St. Francis put the ball in play, it didn't work out for him. An error on the shortstop allowed the leadoff man to reach base, and since then he hasn't thrown a strike. 2-0. Inside, 7 straight balls. And now he's threatening to load the bases with Quinn McGuire on deck. There is action in the St. Xavier bullpen. We may see a reliever if Hidalgo reaches base here. 3-0 from Martin to Hidalgo. He takes a strike. That snaps a string of 7 straight misses. And the count is 3-1. Maffey's at first, John McGuire at second. Quinn McGuire is on deck as Brian Hidalgo takes ball 4. I think that hit him. So officially it is a hit by pitch, and even though the ball got away from the catcher, Aaron Orzik, no chance for any further advance for the 2 guys on base. So no hits this inning for St. Francis, but they've got the bases loaded. This game felt like it was pretty much over a few minutes ago. Not so much now, although Hidalgo is being sent back to the batter's box. I'm trying to see what the call is here. I think maybe they're saying it hit his bat, or he couldn't hold up his swing. It's 3-2. So full count. Ryan Martin has new life. St. Francis still has 2 on, but Hidalgo's back in the box now with a full count, and he strikes out swinging. So a big turnaround right there from bases loaded, nobody out, to 1 pitch later, first and second, 1 out, thanks to the change of call. That brings Quinn McGuire to the dish with 2 on and 1 out. And now if Martin can get a ground ball, this game could end right here. McGuire takes a strike. Quinn McGuire's 0 for 3 with a ground out and 2 strikeouts today. St. Francis has been given chances late in the game with a lot of free base runners as McGuire swings and misses 0-2. But they haven't been able to come up with a hit since the 6th inning. Alex Martinez hit a single to lead off the sixth. Nobody has gotten one since then. They've drawn 4 walks and gotten an error. So they've had scoring opportunities these last few innings. They haven't been able to deliver the hit they need to bring a run in. Ball outside, 1-2. Martin gets the sign in from his catcher, Aaron Orzik. 1-2 pitch. Soft liner into right field. That's a hit. Runners advance 90 feet. McGuire is held at third. Quinn McGuire has a base hit. There is the first hit since the 6th inning, and it loads the bases with 1 out. So Gio Pappas will come up as a pinch hitter for Hector Carrillo, with a chance to really tighten this thing up. Pappas is getting his first at bat of the game. It is not his first appearance of the game. He's been out there as a pinch runner a couple of times. And now he comes out as a pinch hitter. .231 average this year. He's 6 of 26 with a home run and 5 RBIs. He faces Ryan Martin here with the game on the line. First pitch, called strike 1. Thanks to a walk, an error, and a hit, St. Francis has the bases full. The 0-1 popped up foul and out of play. 0-2. Ryan Martin has settled down after he threw 7 consecutive balls and then appeared to walk Brian Hidalgo. Ball 4 of that at bat was reversed. He was sent back to the batter's box. And since then, Martin has been pretty much pinpoint with his control. Pappas grounds to the right side. Sliding stop by the first baseman Duran. He sprints to the bag and gets the out there. 2 down, a run scores. But St. Xavier doesn't care much about that. They already had a 5-run cushion. So the out there is much more important than the run. Pappas picks up his 6th RBI of the year, but he's the 2nd out of the inning, 3 unassisted. Quinn McGuire's up to second base. Eric Maffey's at third. John McGuire scores. He's the only one who has scored today for St. Francis, who now trails 6-2. Dan Gusel takes ball 1. Both of the Fighting Saints runs today have scored on groundouts. They haven't been able to pick up an RBI hit. We'll see if Gusel can change that here. Fouled away, 1-1. It's been a productive offensive game for Gusel so far. 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. He'll have to reach base for a 3rd time today for this game to persist any longer. Montgomery waits on deck. Martin pauses, now sets. Here's the 1-1. High, ball 2. First base is open as Martin sets. The 2-1 pitch hits him in the back. First base is open no longer. Bases are loaded. Martin, who had seemingly gotten those control issues all worked out, ends up hitting Gusel, and the Fighting Saints will bring the tying run to the plate with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. And it does not look like that tying run will face Ryan Martin, who struggled in his first outing of the season. Faced 6 batters. He retired 2 of them. And now he will depart with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and a 6-2 lead. New pitcher coming on for St. Xavier. I'll tell you about him in a moment. Game on the line here. St. Francis trails 6-2. They've got the bases loaded, 2 outs. And Max Montgomery coming up to hit against the new St. Xavier pitcher. It is Caleb Zier, the junior right-hander, on for the 8th time. He's 1-0 with a 3.09 ERA, and today trying to pick up his first save of the year. 11 2/3 innings. He's allowed 6 runs, 4 of them earned on 9 hits, with 8 walks and 5 strikeouts. His first pitch is over for strike 1 on Montgomery. The freshman Max Montgomery is 0 for 3 today, hitting .200 for the season. And just trying to reach base here to keep this game alive. Fouled away, 0-2. The Saints are down to their final strike. Alex Martinez has been on base 4 times today. He's on deck. And if Montgomery reaches, Martinez will come up with the tying run on base and the winning run in the box. But Caleb Zier is 1 strike away from finishing this off for a St. Xavier win. The 0-2 pitch. Fouled away, Montgomery stays alive. It was 6-1 to start this inning. Looked like a pretty simple wrap-up for St. Xavier. But an error, a walk, a single, and a hit batter have kept St. Francis in the game, I should say. A lot of mistakes by St. Xavier in this 9th. The door is still open. The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball to the shortstop. Declan Smythe shovels it over to second, and that is the ball game. St. Xavier does withstand the late rally attempt from St. Francis as the Saints leave them loaded in the bottom of the 9th inning. Caleb Zier comes out of the pen and picks up the save, throwing just 4 pitches and wrapping it up for St. Xavier, I should say. So the Cougars take their second from St. Xavier, the Cougars take their second from St. Francis this year. They win this one by a final score of 6-2. Our final totals for St. Xavier: 6 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. For St. Francis, 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors. The winning pitcher in this game was Julian Vargas. Vargas went 6 innings and allowed 1 run. For St. Xavier, he improves to 2-4 this year. The losing pitcher is John McGuire, who went 7 innings, allowed 4 runs, or rather 5 runs, 4 of them earned. McGuire falls to 1-4 this year. The long ball was the difference in this one. St. Xavier got 3 home runs, 2 of them from Patrick Duran, who put his team ahead 2-0 with a 2-run shot in the first. He hit a solo bomb in the 8th inning. Declan Smythe also hit a solo home run for St. Xavier. For St. Francis, their only 2 runs came on RBI groundouts, one from Brian Hidalgo in the 4th and one from Hector Carrillo in the 9th. Again, 6-2 our final score. With the win, St. Xavier improves to 13-16 overall, 5-3 in conference. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. St. Francis falls to 8-21 overall, 3-5 in conference play as they lose their 2nd in a row. They're back at home on Friday, taking on Roosevelt in a single game before playing a doubleheader at Roosevelt on Saturday. That'll do it for today's broadcast. Thanks for tuning in as St. Francis falls to the visiting Cougars of St. Xavier by a final score of 6-2. Until next time, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis from Joliet, Illinois. Enjoy the rest of your day.